what I had seen on TV, and it was always so wondrous to me. I always wanted to learn how to do it. So when I was 16, I asked my parents if I could get scuba certified. And my mother, she should rest in peace, in her typical Jewish motherly fashion, said that if God meant for humans to be underwater, he would have given us gills.
Gills, exactly.
So,
yes, I've heard that.
so it wasn't until my first year of rabbinical studies in Israel, I was on a camping trip in the Sinai. And the group of people I was with, we went snorkeling at Sharm el-Sheikh at the southern tip of Sinai in the Red Sea. And what I had seen as a kid suddenly came to life. And I had never seen this, having been landlocked forever. And the colors, the life, the coral, the fish, the cobalt blue of the Red Sea. It was mesmerizing. And it was sort of like I could hear the sirens calling me. And so when I finished that year of studies, I got back to Cincinnati and I got my scuba certification. And I had always loved doing it. And it was a way to engage students when I started working for Hillel. But it wasn't until I came here and I was at a school called Eckerd College in St. Petersburg. And Eckerd College, it's a very small liberal arts college, but their biggest major is marine biology.
Oh, wow.
So
I didn't realize that.
So suddenly I had a bunch of students who, there are only about 100 to 110 Jewish students at any given time at Eckerd, but of those, about 30 of them were scuba certified.
Oh, wow.
So it was a great opportunity. And so the challenge for me was, how do I intersect their passion for the marine environment with their heritage? And it led me to delve into marine conservation from a different perspective. I mean, look, there are scientists. Their students are learning from professors,
right,
and environmentalists. And I was the campus rabbi. And what I recognized was that when it comes to the environment, the terrestrial realm, there's science, there's conservation, and there's faith-based conservation. So every religion has some connection to nature.
Exactly.
Jewish, Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, Hindu, makes no difference. Everybody connects nature because they see nature as having been created by God. But when it comes to the marine environment, it's really just science and conservation. So I wanted to add that faith-based conservation perspective to the marine environment. And that's how this program got started.
That's wonderful. Can you explain to everybody where the part about the faith with the ocean is in the Torah? Where does that play in? Because a lot of people don't realize that it is in the Torah and in faith and in religion to take care of the ocean. Can you tell everybody quickly what that is?
Well, yes. Well, first of all, you go back to the beginning. The Bible begins, the Torah, the book of Genesis begins, Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. In the beginning, God created shamayim, which is always translated as the heavens. So it's God created the heavens and the earth.
Right.
And then it continues, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And then it says, Baruch Elohim merechefet al pnei hamayim, and the Spirit of God was on the water. And then it says, the famous passage, Vayomer Elohim yehi or, vayehi or, and God said, let there be light, and there was light. And everybody thinks, oh, that's where it all begins. No, the water precedes.
Exactly. And that's what we educate our followers, is that without the water and the ocean, we wouldn't be here because we depend on it so much. It's every other breath you take has to do with the ocean in some way, shape, or form. And
exactly.
If we don't take care of that, then everything else falls apart. And that's what we teach here. Okay, what initiated the growth? I mean, I know that you talked about how you got involved as far as your love for the ocean, everything like that, but how did you feel it needed to be done? What sparked it to say, like, okay, this is something that's really important. We really should branch this off and educate everybody about this.
Well, it was a very popular program on campus at Eckerd College. And the students were doing excellent work. They were volunteering with the Coral Restoration Foundation in Key Largo. We were doing local dive against debris. We were doing marine beach cleanups. They were doing a lot of really solid work. And I would tell people about it. I wanted to take it off campus. I wanted it to get into the general Jewish community because I didn't feel that our community is properly engaged with this. And I wanted to change that. I wanted to get the Jewish community engaged with marine science and conservation. And so we took it out into the general community. And it's interesting because on campus, the group for the students is called Scooby Jew.
Yeah, I saw that. I thought that was really cool. That really stands out. I like it.
Well, and the reality is, because you don't have to be Jewish to be part of Scooby Jew. It's open to everybody. But because I'm the campus rabbi, they humor me. And I love it when non-Jewish students run around campus and say, hey, I'm involved with Scooby Jew. I'm a Scooby Jew, which is great. But when I would tell people in the community about it, they'd say, oh, that's so cute. And I'd say, no, it's not cute. It's a very serious conservation organization. So that's when we changed the name to Tikkun Hayam. And Tikkun Hayam is Hebrew. In Hebrew, in Judaism, we have a tenet in our religion called Tikkun Olam, which translates as to repair the world. Right. And it's based on the concept that when God created the world, and when I say that, I'm not talking about 6 days and 5,781 years ago, but that the laws of nature are divine, that they come from God, and that when God created those laws of nature and created the universe and evolution and all of that, it was all perfect until human beings got thrown in the mix and we messed it all up.
Right.
So Tikkun Olam is the teachings that say we're partners with God and we have to repair that which we've broken.
Exactly.
And so we changed our name to Tikkun Hayam, which is just a play on Tikkun Olam, because Tikkun Hayam translates as repair the sea.
Yes.
Since we focus on the marine environment.
And that's how I chose my Jewish name of Bat Yam, daughter of the ocean, because it was just so fitting, because that's what the ocean's been my life since I can remember. And that's, led all the way up to developing marine conservation networks. So that's perfect. Exactly.
Great.
How has COVID affected you, though? I mean, I know it's been rough for everybody this past year. We've got a whole new world that we're looking at now. Everything's more virtual than more hands-on and in person. How has it affected you over in Florida?
It's affected us in that our campus and our campus-based program, the biggest part of our program on campus is that we're very fortunate. We're the only Hillel in the world that owns a boat.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. Yes, it's a long story, which I won't
we can do that another time.
We'll do that another time.
That's okay.
We have a boat, and our students go out generally at least once, sometimes twice a month.
Wow.
And through Project Aware, the PADI program of Dive Against Debris, we have adopted the St. Petersburg downtown reef.
Oh,
and
wow.
Our students go out, as I said, at least once. We try to do twice a month.
Yeah.
And the students clean the reef. And it's not a beautiful reef like in the Keys. It's an artificial reef in Tampa Bay to hopefully create habitat for fish so that fishermen can come and catch them.
Yeah.
But what we find is, so it's mostly construction material, concrete and rebar and other things. And it provides habitat for fish. But Tampa Bay has very low visibility. Generally, if we have 12 inches, it's a clear day.
Oh, I didn't realize
that. So our students go down. Oh yeah. So our students go down usually in very low visibility, in difficult conditions. And on the reef, we find fishing nets and rope and anchor lines and monofilament lines. And it's hard work, but they're making a difference.
Good.
And they love it.
Good.
They really love it. But because of COVID, the college isn't allowing us to do any off-campus programming. And so we've had to suspend our Dive Against Debris program. But what that's helped us with is that we do more online programming.
Right.
And we do that. Plus, it's helped us to focus the activities that we do. So for example, we have a program, we create mezuzot. A mezuzah, for the non-Jewish viewers, it's a little, it's like a container that inside we put on the doors of our house, and it's from the book of Exodus that the book of Deuteronomy that says you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might. And then it says, inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and upon your gates.
Right.
So if you have Jewish friends, next time you go to their house, look when you go in the front door and you'll probably see a mezuzah.
We definitely have one in ours. We used to, when the kids were little, we used to have one in each of their bedrooms too. So
Yeah, we have them on
we're
every
very
door.
familiar with it.
Well, we create mezuzahs from recycled plastic water bottles.
Oh, nice.
So we've
Nice.
stepped up our program, but it's interesting because we actually recycle the plastic ourselves.
Oh, you do?
So
So
we
do you have your own equipment and your own facility that you take it to?
The facility is my garage.
Okay, that's a start. That's a
But yes,
start.
we
That's
have-
okay.
We have all of the equipment. So we take the plastic and we put it in the grinder, and then we put it in the extruder, and it melts it and turns it into 3D printer filament. And then
That
we
is
print it.
amazing.
Yeah, so we do that. We also work in conjunction with other organizations. So for example, we just launched a new program that in the Jewish community, it's a tradition for over 100 years that in order to show our support for the state of Israel, for life cycle events and other events, we plant a tree. And so there's an organization called the Jewish National Fund, which people don't realize. Israel's the only country in the world that entered the 21st century with more trees than it had when it entered the 20th century.
That's amazing. That
It
is
is.
really amazing.
And you know, they've done a tremendous job. That before, it really began in the late 1800s. And prior to that, after almost 2,000 years of continuous conquest and destruction from dozens of different empires, the land had really been left very desolate.
Right.
And so as a means by which to reclaim the land, the Jewish National Fund was established, and they purchased land from landowners, and on that land they planted forests.
Oh, wow.
And
That's really awesome. I love that.
It's an amazing organization, www.jnf.org. You can plant a tree in Israel. But it's been so common that, I mean, we do it all the time. And since we recently celebrated the New Year of Trees, the holiday of Tu B'Shvat,
right.
And we launched a program in conjunction with the Israel Oceanographic and Limnologic Research Institute, because as we all know, coral is one of the most endangered species on the planet.
Right, exactly. Because everything depends on the coral.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a scientist at the IOLR by the name of Dr. Baruch Rinkovic, who is one of the pioneers of coral restoration. And so we wanted to change the culture a little bit. And in addition to planting trees, we want to encourage people to plant trees of the sea.
There you go. There you go.
So we've begun a program to plant a coral in Israel.
That would be awesome. I would love to follow up more on that, because that's exactly what we need to do all over, is more and more plant corals and get that going, because that's where everything breeds and everything feeds and everything grows. And if you don't have any coral reefs, then it's really difficult for any other life to get going, even though they eventually leave the coral reef and some stay there.
Right.
So how has the funding gone? I mean, how do you normally get your funding for your organization?
We're under the umbrella of the Hillels of the Florida Suncoast.
Okay.
So some of our funding comes through their programming budget.
Okay.
But we have a few very generous donors who have helped us, not for our funding per se, but for our I shouldn't say that. They've been very generous. It's a local foundation, and they've made it possible for us to do what we do. So we have a program called our Blue Green Initiative.
Okay. Where
our goal is to remove single-use plastic products from every Hillel in North America.
Wow.
Because we work with college students, it's a simple fact. If you want college students to come to a program, you have to feed them.
That's very true. That's very true.
Yeah, so Hillels serve a lot of meals, whether it's Shabbat dinner or during the week. And so I conducted a survey a few years ago to find out what Hillels are using plastic and who's doing what. And what I learned was that our single-use plastic consumption is horrific. So thanks to this local foundation and a company called Verterra, which produces compostable cutlery made from wood chips. So not like
Wow.
the corn-based compostables that
Right.
require higher temperatures.
Right.
They're made from wood chips with no chemicals. You could throw it in your backyard and in a couple of weeks it would be gone.
Oh,
And
okay.
so what happens is people don't usually use it because it's the thing they give the least concern for.
Right.
You use it once, you throw it out, and you
Right.
go for the cheapest. So we contacted Verterra and told them what the vision was to get and the owner of Verterra, luckily, was a young Jewish guy who was involved with Hillel when he was in college. So when I told him about the idea, he said, I'm in. And he gave us a tremendously discounted price, 50%
Wow.
off. And we crunched the numbers and learned that a Hillel that serves 100 meals a week,
Wow.
the difference between plastic and the Verterra discounted price was only $200 a year.
Oh my gosh.
So thanks to our local foundation, we were able to get 53 Hillels off plastic, and we were able to pay the $200 difference.
Oh, wow. That's great.
So in the end, we eliminated 183,000 pieces of single-use plastic cutlery from production and ultimately from the environment and the ocean.
Wow.
And this wonderfully generous foundation has given us funding to do this for 3 years.
That's fantastic. That's really good.
Verterra has gone the extra yard, and they've said that any religious institution, Jewish, Christian, Muslim, makes no difference. Any religious institution that is using plastic can order Verterra through our website and get the 50% discount. We're not able to give that $200 subsidy, but we hope that others will step up. So that's our funding. It's not,
So then how can people get involved? How can the general public get involved with your organization with either donations or join your organization through wherever they're located?
Sure. If they go to our website, which I can put in the chat, can I do that?
Yeah, I don't know if that it's going to be recorded on that, but go ahead and put it in there anyway, just in case.
Okay, the website is www.repairthesea.org. Repair the Sea, again, the translation of Tikkun Hayam.
Tikkun Hayam, exactly.
So they can go there and see the programs that we do, and everything we do is actually replicable. So we're happy to create chapters anywhere. We have a chapter guide. Doesn't cost anything. You just have to put in the effort. Another program we do every year, which can be done anywhere, is called our reverse tashlich. Tashlich is a tradition in Judaism where on Rosh Hashanah, the new year, after the services in the synagogue in the morning, you're supposed to go to a body of water and symbolically cast away our sins by throwing bread into the water.
Yes, we do that here.
So a few years ago, so a few years ago, a few students of mine at Eckerd College and I were speaking, and I was telling them about Tashlich, and one of the students said, there's already too much human sin in the water. Why are we adding to it? Why don't we take it out?
Okay.
So we organized a waterfront cleanup.
That makes sense.
Started out with 5 students. Yeah. And
that makes perfect sense.
As 5 students last year, or before the pandemic, in 2019, we had, I think it was 850 plus volunteers in 47 locations in the US, Israel, Canada, and Argentina. And the idea was on the Sunday between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur to get the Jewish community collectively to go out and clean the marine environment where they live. It can be a lake, it can be a river, it can be the ocean, it can be a beach, it can be a pond in Kansas. I guarantee you there's going to be pollution, litter and pollution.
Oh yeah, unfortunately it's everywhere you look and there's no way getting around it, so it definitely needs to be done. Well,
so people can conduct a reverse tashlich wherever they are, and we have a program guide on how to make it happen.
Good, fantastic. Well, everybody, make sure you go to the website for Tikkun Hayam at repairthesea.org and check them out. Get involved, especially if you're in Florida and you're right there. Get involved and let's make this world a better place and clean up the oceans because we do depend on it. Thank you again, Rabbi. I really appreciate you being here today, and I hope everybody got a lot out of this. And we'll have to expand you even more so. We'll take you global along with us. How about that?
I'd love it. Would love it.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And remember, guys, together we can make oceans a difference. See you in the next one.